Hello guys, I would like to present to you another deck that I am playing apart from Necros, which is a Borrelsword Turbo, or also known as Shaddoll Orcust. This is a blind going second deck that tries to just win by using Borrelsword plus Dingirsu and just kill your opponent. It loves to kill Sky Strikers and other control decks. It's basically almost a hard counter to control decks because how stupidly good it is at playing through disruptions, especially disruptions on the board. It struggles a tiny bit with massive amounts of hand traps and intelligently used hand traps, but but it's not too bad, and you usually are expecting to play against an established board. And in that case, you will know what hand traps you will probably have to face, which is either none or one, depending on the hand size and everything. And it requires a lot of skill to pilot to get the OTK out. So let's start with the deck profile. First of all, the plant engine. We are playing 3 Orpheus Scorpio, 1 Darlingtonia Cobra, and 3 Lonefire Blossom. This engine can search you 3 cards in the deck, which are Instant Fusion, Super Poly, and Shaddoll Fusion. Most importantly, it searches Shaddoll Fusion and Super Poly, because those are the main tools you will need to break boards. Especially, and for example, if you resolve any one of those, you're usually OTKing them in this turn. It's kind of the strongest engine of the deck. It's unfortunately very disruptible, but this is only the case if you only control Orpheus Scorpio, which we will get to later how to circumvent. Also, in case we break with Darlingtonia Cobra, we play 1 Glow-Up Bulb. Glow-Up Bulb is a very insane card in this deck. It's a 1-card Phoenix. And it also mills a card, which could mean that you could mill a lot of the good cards to mill in this deck, which you will see later on. Unfortunately, it's also ashable, but it's better than nothing. And it's also a target for Shekinaga because it's an earth. Good. This is the plant engine. As next, we are playing a Shaddoll package of Shaddoll Dragon and Shaddoll Beast. Shaddoll Beast lets you draw 1 card, while Shaddoll Dragon destroys one spell or a trap that your opponent controls. This is the way you break Sky Striker boards and floodgates and shit. Unfortunately, they do not trigger if they are discarded, but they do trigger if they, for example, get sent off Glow-Up Bulb, or if they get sent off Shaddoll Fusion or Construct. There are engine requirements, and they're worth playing if you see how stupid Shaddoll Fusion is. For the Orcust engine, we're playing a little bit smaller than standard Orcust. 2 Nightmare, 1 Simple Skeleton, 2 Heart Power, and 1 World Wand. World Wand is really good. It's probably one of the best discards in this deck. It helps you extend into your Borrelsword. If you get into the Orcust engine, you usually can get out a Borrelsword plus Dingirsu. And this is especially the case if you draw World Wand. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory what they do. Harp summons from deck, Skeleton summons from grave, and Wand summons from banished. And Nightmare is the card that sends all of those to the grave. And also it boosts attack, so it can come up that you need to boost your Borrelsword to get more damage in. Then we play the Distrudo Mare package. We are playing Yazi in the extra deck, because if you resolve Yazi, you get so many pluses. And Yazi is also kind of hard to disrupt because it cannot be targeted, so Valor, Impermanence, Widow Anchors, you don't care. Yeah, Destrudo is one of the special summons of the deck. If you can get If you have Destrudo plus Orpheus Scorpio, you can play through a hand trap because people will usually Ash the Orpheus Scorpio. Really strong. And also, we don't care about life points in this deck because you're killing them this turn. Another one where we don't care about the life points it costs is Trick Clown. If it gets sent to the graveyard, no matter where from where, it's you can activate it and special summon Perform Mage from your grave, and then you take 1,000 damage, and its attack and defense gets set to 0. It's basically a very good discard. It is also our light target for Shaddoll Fusion. Then a new addition from Rising Rampage, we're playing Triple Vishuda. Vishuda is a better Pancratops, in my opinion. First of all, it doesn't have any restrictions to if you can to having control less monsters than your opponent. So you can summon it if your opponent sets 5 pass, and if you can special summon it. So it's another special summon to play through hand traps with the Predapons. And if it's in the graveyard and you control a non-effect monster, this includes tokens. So Mare, if you activate Mare and have Vishuda engraved for some reason, you can activate Vishuda's effect. And this effect lets you target one card on the field and bounce it to the hand, which is pretty strong. Can circumvent most protection, especially the destruction protection. It can play around Balinks and stuff. So it helps you OTK Salamangreat and Thunder Dragons. It also helps you play through back row. We are playing 1 Dark Arm Dragon. If you get this thing out versus any back row deck, they can say goodbye to their board. This is basically Harpy's Feather Duster if it gets to resolve. And you have a lot of ways to manipulate the amounts of darks that you have in the grave, because almost every dark you have in this deck can banish itself. So you can get a lot of fodder for him and get the right graveyard manipulation to summon him. Unfortunately, he tends to be a brick in the early stages of the turn. But later on, if you resolve him, he's just too good. He's my 41st card. If you feel like cutting him, feel free to. We're playing also the Trickstar engine of 1 Light Stage, 1 Kandina, and 1 Karobane. Karobane is a good special summon, and Kandina outs stupid stuff like Vanity's Fiend, Vanity's Ruler, Pristia stuff. It's pretty decent at what it does. Yeah, it's also Light Stage outing shit like set cards. For example, if your opponent plays Manhunt, you can out Manhunt with it. Really strong. We're playing 2 Phantasme, budget reasons mainly, but also I have a little bit of a problem with him that I brick a lot on him because of playing against Guru Control, playing against Paleo. Yeah, in those cases, he is really bad. But if you can get him out, he helps you to recycle your hand and mold it into a better hand. Since this deck plays 2 to 4 bricks, this can come up and is pretty nice. I usually side him out depending on the matchup. Also, he's a 2400 body and negates targeting, which is also a nice feature. For the spells, we're playing a big fusion lineup of 2 Super Poly, 3 Shaddoll Fusion, and 2 Instant Fusion. If you resolve Shaddoll Fusion, it's a +3 or +4, depending on which card you summon. If you summon Construct, you get to pop 1, draw 1, and special summon 2, and you get to add Shaddoll Fusion from the grave to hand if Construct leaves the field and gets sent to the graveyard. Yeah, and Instant Fusion is an extender, gives you an extra special summon. It's a little weird playing with Winda, but it's Also, it is a way you can make a board if you get forced first, which happens a lot with this deck against good players. And Super Poly, obviously, solid card, and people just look so stupidly when they see that you can search it off of the plant engine. Other spells we were playing a terraforming for our field spell for Light Stage, because Light Stage is just that good. It's even worth playing it if you only have Light Stage. Sometimes, of course, you can draw both, but this is really unlikely. Foolish Burial gets you another special summon, really solid card. Gets you your Glow Up Bulb, and Glow Up Bulb can do stupid stuff like mill Destrudos, and if you mill Destrudos, you just win. And then Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn plus Lonefire Blossom is solid, and also you have a lot of ways to get stuff to the graveyard, and usually your opponent loves to disrupt you, so you will usually have stuff in the graveyard due to them. And in that case, Monster Reborn is a really good extender. And at last, we're playing one trap card, which is Orcust Crescendo. It is because people like to let you go first sometimes, depending on what deck they play or if they know what you play and stuff. And in that case, Orcust Crescendo is really solid. Also, it has another use because sometimes you want to shuffle with Galatea. And in that case, it is really worth it to get Orcust Crescendo on the board. So in case you somehow don't manage to OTK, for example, they say Valor for the Borrelsword Dragon, Orcust Crescendo can help you OTK them on turn, deal the last damage on turn 4, because they will have a hard time playing with depleted resources. For the extra deck, we're playing 3 Shaddolls, El Shaddolls, which are Construct, Shekanaga, and Shaddoll Winda. Winda is our instant fusion target, while those are the ones that we want to summon off of Shaddoll Fusion. And Shekanaga sends our Glow Up Bulb, Construct sends both Shaddolls and Trick Clown. And also, all of them, if they get sent to graveyard, you can add Shaddoll Fusion back to hand. It makes Shaddoll Fusion really, 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 really good. We're playing only one Super Poly target, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This is due to we're playing only him because of the extra deck that's tight, and because Vishuda is so good that he requires his own extra deck slot. You can also use Super Poly to deal extra damage, depending on if your opponent has no darks. Also, you can sometimes Super Poly one of your monsters plus Sky Striker Ace Ray if your opponent plans on doing Kaina as soon as you destroy their Shizuku. It's really solid. It also has a nice attack game boost, and if it gets destroyed, it pops the field. Dingirsu, the reason we can OTK with Borrelsword is because we can summon Dingirsu over Galatea. He also sends problem cards. The best removal in the game, in my opinion, apart from Kaijus. Then we are playing Yazi, Evil of the Yangzing, because Yazi summons Mermer, and Mermer is free link 4 and Orcust combo and everything. If you resolve Yazi, GG. We're playing 2 Galatea, the Orcust Automaton. This thing can it's your lowest link count for Orcust, so you play her. And she can, of course, get recycle your engine and stuff. Really good. Now for the nightmares, we're playing Unicorn, Phoenix, Mermaid. A Unicorn is solid because it can be summoned under Orcust restrictions. Phoenix because it pops back row, of course, and Mermaid because we have to get into our Orcust engine somehow. Win condition, Borrelsword, as I mentioned, this is Borrelsword Turbo. Summoning Borrelsword is game. Then Monk of the Tenji. This is our extra deck slot that we need to play Bashuda. Bashuda is just that good. Also, he's downwards pointing arrows, so he synergizes with the Nightmares. Really solid. And then for generics, we play Linkaribo and Beat Cop. Beat Cop to get rid of tokens, and she also, if she is summoned with darks, you can tribute a card and then make a card indestructible for one instance, which helps with instant fusion and Winda if you get sent first. Yeah. So this is the deck. For the side deck, I just run triple Lancea, triple Chalice because you need to play around Dweller, triple Kaijus because makes Sky Striker easier, triple Red Reboot to make back row decks easier, one Violet Chimera and two Pancratops to... Yeah, Pancratops because it's generally good, and Violet Chimera because it is... because you need to side out some stuff against Howling Great. So this is how the deck works. It's a really strong deck. I am currently like on a 10 win streak on Dueling Book and like destroyed some of the top 50 players. Yeah, if you have any questions on the playstyle, this deck is kind of hard to pilot because you need to know your opponent almost better than your own deck. You need a lot of knowledge about what other people's boards are going to be, what they can do, what they cannot do. Yeah. So read your opponent's cards and win. Well then, if you have any questions, ask me in the comments section. And if you want any more videos, feel free to like me and subscribe to my channel. I am only doing this as a hobby, so I won't have a regular upload schedule. If you have also any questions to my other Necros decks, feel free to ask me. Well then, I wish you a nice day, and have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh!